Hare Krishna, welcome to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Before we start today's Srimad Bhagavatam class, let's do a simple Mangalacharana. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Narayanam Namaskrityam, Narum Chaim Narotamam, Deving Saraswating Vyasam, Tato Jayamudirayat. Before reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the only means of conquest over illusion and ignorance, let us offer our respectful obeisance to the personality of Godhead, Lord Narayana, onto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, onto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and onto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nasta Presha Avdareshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistikihi. By regularly attending Srimad Bhagavatam class and by rendering service onto the lotus feet of pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely vanquished, and loving devotional service onto the lotus feet of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, who is praised by transcendental songs and choice poetry, is established in one's heart as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnana Jnana Salakaya Chaksuramritanjana Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. I was born in a darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of transcendental knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gauravakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Welcome everybody to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 3, text number 3. Text number 3. Before we start this class is a continuation of a conversation between Maharaj Nimi and Nava Yogindras. This Maharaj Nimi is a very highly elevated pure devotee. So when he met these Nava Yogindras, he realized they are very highly elevated Vaishnava devotees. And when you meet such devotees, what Vaishnavas do is they take advantage by asking them transcendental questions. So this Maharaj Nimi, when he first asked questions, the first question he asked them was, what is the greatest good one can do in one's life? So these Nava Yogindras, Nava means nine brothers. So these 9 brothers, all of them, they gave answer that one of them gave answer that the greatest good one can do in one life is to practice devotional service, practice bhakti yoga. And it is described in the answer that this bhakti yoga is so wonderful and is so powerful and so potent that they give this analogy. The analogy is, if you were to go on a run and if you will keep your eyes closed while running, you will never fall. So this analogy actually explains that among all the things in our lives in this material world, there is nothing that is reliable, nothing that you can put your trust in. But this devotional service is not like that. Devotional service is so potent that it will never disappoint you. It never leave you down. And in that explanation also, they revealed a secret. They said the secret of advancing in spiritual life is to surrender at the lotus feet of a pure devotee. So the second question that Maharaj Nimi asked was, what are the categories of devotees and how do you identify such devotees? So the second question was answered by Havir. The first question was answered by Kavir, and the second question was answered by Havir. Havir answered that there are basically 3 levels of devotees. First is Kanishta Adhikari, second is Madhyam Adhikari, third is Uttama Adhikari. So the first level of devotee, they are known as Kanishta Adhikari. These are devotees who are new to Krishna consciousness. They are not very mature, and they are distinguished by the bad habit of criticizing others. At first, these Kanishta Adhikaris, these new devotees, they will criticize the enemies of Lord Krishna, that is the demons and the atheists. But they don't stop only there. They end up actually criticizing even devotees. So this shows their lack of maturity. Okay. And these Kanishta Adhikaris, they another character of them is that they only think that the Supreme Lord is in the temple. The Supreme Lord is not anywhere else. So these Kanishta Adhikaris, they tend to read scripture and read the literal meaning of the scriptures. Okay, like there's an English saying that goes, you judge a book by its cover. So these Kanishta Adhikaris, and most of us, we fall under this category. Kanishta Adhikaris, we are not very mature. And then the level above this Kanishta Adhikari is Madhyam Adhikaris. Madhyam Adhikari devotees are actually, first character about them is they are very learned in the scriptures. They understand the scripture and they apply it into their lives. They are serious devotees. And they are distinguished from the Kanishta Adhikaris in the sense that they do not criticize anyone, not even the enemies of Krishna. Because they understand scripture, they understand that the Lakshanam, the sign of a devotee is someone who is compassionate and merciful. So this is a Madhyam Adhikari. And this Madhyam Adhikari, they dedicate their lives by surrendering themselves to the lotus feet of a pure devotee. Okay. And on the instruction of the pure devotee, they will go and perform devotional service. And usually it is preaching. They will go and preach. Most of the preachers are in this Madhyam Adhikari category. And then of topmost devotee, the topmost level of devotee is called Uttama Adhikari. Uttama Adhikari devotees are those devotees who see all living entities as being part and parcel of Krishna. They see everyone else as being devotee of Krishna except for them. So this is the character of a Uttama Adhikari. Because of their vision, they are very, very humble. Very, very humble. Very humble and also very powerful. They are able to convince others about the science of Bhakti Yoga. These are the people who have great following and great they have great quantity of disciples. So this is the second question. What are the categories of devotees? So now the third question is going to be asked by Maharaj Nimi, and this is the verse, Canto 11, Chapter 3, text number 1. Just now I said text 3, actually number 1. So let me read the verse. Sri Rajo Vacha Parasya Vishnur Isasya Mayinam Api Mohinim Mayam Vidatum Ichamo Bhagavato Bhurvantunaha. Translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. King Nimi said, now we wish to learn about the illusory potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Vishnu, which bewilders even great mystics. My Lord, please speak to us about this subject. Purport. According to Srila Siddha Swami, in this chapter, various saintly sons of Rishabhadev will speak about the illusory energy Maya. The 48th verse of the previous chapter states, Vishnur Mayam Idam Pasyan. A devotee of Krishna should see the entire universe to be the illusory potency of the Lord. Therefore, King Nimi is now pursuing this subject matter by requesting more detailed information from the saintly Yogendras. According to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and the human beings of earth are all driven by their particular desire for material sense gratification. Thus, they direct their senses towards research for material knowledge. The subtle celestial senses of the demigods and the gross senses of human beings are all busy in ascertaining the measurement of material sense object. To understand fully the actual nature of Maya, the illusory potency which causes the conditioned soul to become adverse to Krishna consciousness and surrender to bewildering material manifestation, King Nimi is inquiring from another of the nine Yogendras by the name of Sri Antriksha. So this is the question that Maharaj Nimi is asking. He is asking why? Because in the previous answer, it is described that the pure devotees, they see that everything in this material world is the external energy of the Supreme Lord, is the illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. So everything actually reminds them of Krishna. So the question that Maharaj Nimi is asking now is, please tell me about this illusory energy of Krishna. So the answer here is given that, O mighty armed king, by activities, by activating the material elements, the primeval soul of all creation had set forth all living entities in higher and lower species, so that these conditioned souls can cultivate either sense gratification or ultimate liberation according to their desire. So here, this one, Sri Antriksha is explaining that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, created this material world for two reasons. For the living entities to come here to do two things only. Number one is to fulfill their desire to gratify their senses, to enjoy their senses. Okay, that is the first reason. The second reason is to ultimately get liberation from this material world. So, interestingly enough, there's a question once somebody asked Srila Prabhupada, and he asked that why did the Supreme Lord create this material world of suffering, and so much pain, and why did he? So Srila Prabhupada gave a very interesting answer. He asked this person, "Are you a parent?" He said, "Yes, I am a parent." "Do you have children?" "Yes, I have children." "What happens when your children don't want to listen to you?" I said, well, that person actually couldn't answer. He couldn't answer the question. He just kept quiet. He said, "There's nothing I can do, sir. My children don't want to listen to me, means there's nothing much I can do." Then Srila Prabhupada said, this is the position of Krishna also. Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, he says that Aham Bija Pratapita, I am the seed giving father of all living entities. That means we are all Krishna's children. All living entities are Krishna's children. So Krishna is in the position of the children not listening to him. They don't want to listen to him. They want to enjoy this material world. Krishna keeps telling them that this material world actually will not give you what you want. So long as you come under my protection, I'll fulfill all your desires. But for some reason or other, we wanted to come into this material world. So this is the position of Krishna. Krishna is very heartbroken. But what to do? The children don't want to listen. So Krishna created this material world so that all the living entities can come here and fulfill their desire to enjoy this material world. And the second reason he gives here is ultimately this world also can give liberation. Liberation from what? Liberation from samsara chakra, repeated birth and death in this material world. You see, the process of gratifying your senses, the process of enjoying in this material world is considered a sinful activity. And such sinful activities entangle that jiva in this cycle of birth and death in this material world. More and more and more. Why? Because when you want to enjoy your senses, what happens is you develop attachment for this body that provides this enjoyment for you. So the moment the living entity thinks that, oh, I am the body because I am enjoying my body, that is illusion. That is the beginning of illusion. And because this illusion is there, this illusion will drag the soul from one body to another body to another body to another body. And each time it goes into a new body, you will experience birth, old age, disease, and death. And because this illusion is so powerful, is a powerful potency of the Supreme Lord, the living entity under illusion will think that, oh, I need to enjoy more and more and more. Because of this desire to enjoy, he'll get birth again and again and again and again. And this cycle of birth and death will happen again and again and again and again until the living entity comes to a point whereby the living entity uh, will ask some very intelligent questions. Like what kind of questions? He will ask, why am I suffering? I don't want to be unhappy, but I'm unhappy. Why have I taken birth? Where have I come from? Where am I going? So for this Atma, his spiritual life has begun. He will start to inquire. And because he's inquiring, Krishna will help him from within his heart. So that is where his liberation begins. So let's move on to the next answer that Sri Antariksha gives. The super soul enters the material body of the created being, activates the mind and the senses, and thus causes the conditioned soul to approach the three modes of material nature for sense gratification. So here Sri Antariksha is revealing to me this verse is revealing the definition of love. So Krishna is broken-hearted. Children don't want to listen to him. So he creates this material world so that the children will learn from the school of hard knocks. That means learn, painful lesson of their mistake. In this world is meant for that. But Krishna is such a soft-hearted father that he cannot be separated from his children. The children, that is all of us, we want to forget God and we want to become God. We want to enjoy. We want to enjoy this material world. We want to become mini gods. We want to become mini Krishnas. But Krishna, he cannot be separated from his own children. Therefore, he comes and follows each and every living entity in this material world as the super soul, as Paramatma, from one body to another. So this is Krishna. So Krishna's soft-heartedness is shown like this. You want to know what is love? Love is this. Patiently following the children from one body to another, witnessing that child's suffering and enjoyment from one body to another. Patiently waiting for the child to turn and look at him and ask him, "Hey, please save me. I don't want this. This is enough already. I don't want to come back again and again in this material world. Please save me." This is Krishna. So Krishna enters the material body of the created being, activates the mind and the senses. Activates the mind and the senses that causes the conditioned soul to approach the three mode of material nature for sense gratification. So here in this connection, there's a very interesting verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, text 14. Chapter 18, text 14. There, Krishna reveals the elements that is required for action to happen. If you want to do something, 5 ingredients are required. Okay, the ingredients are the place of action, which is the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the super soul. These 5 elements are required for action to happen. So interestingly enough, you have to see where did the place of action, the body, come from. The body came from Krishna. It's from his his material energy. And then the various senses, the senses are working. Why? Because Krishna is the one making all the senses work. The many different kinds of endeavors. There are many different things you can do with your material body. There are many things you can do, and this variety of things that you can do and the ability to do it is given by Krishna himself. And of course, the last one is super soul. Super soul is the one who is providing this facility for the living entity to perform some action. And the Jiva Atma, the living entity, he's only one of the 5. He's the performer. He's the performer of the activity. So this illusory energy of the Supreme Lord, the living entity being in illusion, he will think what? He will think, oh, I'm the doer, therefore I'm the one who's making this thing happen. I'm the one who's becoming rich. I'm the one having big house, big car, me, I. But the fact of the matter we just heard is there's 5 things that is required to make things happen. That living entity is only one of the 5. What happens if there's no body? Can the living entity enjoy this material world? Cannot. If there's no senses, can the person enjoy or not? No. Just like those who are, what they call they are paralyzed. Their body is there, can breathing, everything is working, but they cannot use their senses. They're just lying there. Can they enjoy? Cannot enjoy. So everything is dependent on Krishna. So this illusory energy, it deludes the living entity into thinking that he's the doer. So right now, you see, like the whole world under the illusion that they are the doer. They are now under arrest, under the pandemic. Pandemic has stopped everything. Everything stopped already. The illusion is broken. Everybody is angry now. Small businessmen are angry, workers are angry. All the things that they are so dependent upon to enjoy their life, not available already now. Approaches the three mode of material nature. So let's continue. The individual living being, the master of the material body, uses his material senses, which have been activated by the super soul, to try to enjoy the sense object composed of the three modes of material nature. Thus he misidentifies and creates material body with the unborn eternal self and become entangled in illusory energy of the Lord. So this is where the trick happens. The living entity thinks he is the body. Impelled by deep-rooted material desires, the embodied living entity engages his sense organs in fruitive activities. He then experiences the results of his material actions by wandering through this material world in so-called happiness and distress. You see, under the illusion of sense gratification, the living entity travels from one body to another body. There is 8,400,000 species of life in this universe. Among the 8,400,000 species of life, 8 million are animal and plant species. 8 million is animal and plant species. The 400,000 are like human-like species. Among the 400,000 species, there's only one species. That is the human species. That is in the Srimad Bhagavatam. It says it's very, very rare to get this human form of life. This human form of life is very rare, very difficult to get. And this human form of life is the most best form of life for the living entity to get, to finish his business in this material world, take up bhakti yoga, go back home, back to Godhead, get liberation. Okay? Human form of life. The devas in the heavenly planets, they are all queuing up. They all want to take human form of life. Why? Because now on earth, in the human form of life, humans have an opportunity to take to the Sankirtana movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The devas are very, very intelligent. They know that this movement of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate, is the most merciful opportunity by Krishna to get liberation, to finish their business and go back home, back to Godhead. You don't have to come back again and again, birth, old age, disease, death, birth, old age, disease, death. You don't have to do that. The devas, and even and also this bhakti yoga also is available in the heavenly planets with the devas. But the devas, they have difficulty practicing bhakti yoga. Why? Because in the heavenly planets, too much enjoyment, too much opportunity to enjoy. The enjoyment is a distraction. And also in the hellish planets, the demons, they also have opportunity to practice bhakti yoga, just like Prahlad Maharaj. He's the son of the king of the demons. He is a great devotee. But in the what they call the hellish planets also, there is opportunity. But in the hellish planets, too much suffering, too much distraction in suffering. So they cannot practice Krishna consciousness. But on earth, in this human form now, happiness and distress are like almost 50-50. Almost like sometimes more, sometimes less, and sometimes like this, So the living entity who experience happiness and distress like this, what happens is they tend to come to the middle path, not happy and not sad, not distress and not enjoyment. No, and when you are in this middle path, you can have a little bit of peace of mind. In that peace of mind, you can ask intelligent questions. Why am I here? I feel like I've been slapped left and right by happiness and distress in this material world. I feel like I'm in a sea, the sea water will push me here, will push me there. I'm helpless, Why like this? For such a person, person will ask intelligent question. He says, what is my purpose here? What am I supposed to do? You know? So the living entity under this illusion, he wanders from one body to another, and only when he comes in contact by the mercy of Krishna, of his pure devotee. If a pure devotee were to come and give him mercy, and he were to take that mercy, then his spiritual life start, and his liberation, his way back home, back to Godhead start already. That's how it is. Thus, the conditioned living entity is forced to experience repeated birth and death, impelled by the reaction of his own activities. He helplessly wanders from one inauspicious situation to another, suffering from the moment of creation until the time of cosmic annihilation. So this this living entity, I say, very sad story lah. They travel from one body to another. Where they end up, they don't know. You see? Very, very frightening, You have a body in this material world, and you try to do your duty and all that, especially in the human form of life, But if you misuse the opportunity of this human form of life, and you cultivate some bad habit, that will be the seed of your next life. That what body you get the next life, you do not know. So it can be from any one of the 8,400,000 species of life. And please don't make the mistake of thinking that, if I get a next life, if I get an animal form of life, I will just take that one birth in it, and then I'll come back to no. It doesn't work like that. That's the problem. You don't know. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there's one way you can make sure that your next life is a human form of life, not an animal life, not a deva life, not a demon life, or not a plant life, not a fish life, not a bird life, but a human form of life. How do you do that? The way you do that is by starting your Krishna consciousness right now. And how you can do that? Very easy, Anybody hearing this class, please listen carefully. The way you start by your bhakti yoga practice is by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's how you start. Chant this mantra every single day, as much as you can. This mantra is not different from Krishna himself. Krishna himself have said, if you chant this Maha Mantra, I'll be dancing in your tongue. Whenever you need me, you just have to call out my name. I will come and help you. So many people who have gone through distress in life, and they have tried this formula, and they have discovered that every time they call out to Krishna, their problems seem to just disappear. There are so many stories I can tell you, but we just don't have the time to do that, because the lessons in these verses are actually very, very nice. Let's move on. When the annihilation of the material element is imminent, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form of eternal time withdraws the manifested cosmos consisting of gross and subtle features, and the entire universe vanishes into non-manifestation. So this Sri Antriksha is now explaining that the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, is this material world, and it is distinguished by the fact that this energy is constantly creating and destroying. So in Canto 5, there is very, very detailed description, detailed explanation of how this process of creation and destruction is happening. I'll give you a little sample, okay? This universe, the lifespan of this universe is the lifespan of the Lord Brahma. Okay, Lord Brahma is the firstborn in any universe. So our universe, our Brahma has got 4 heads. So this universe is known as Chaturmukhi Brahma. Chaturmukhi means 4-headed Brahma. So this Lord Brahma, he lives for 100 years. Okay, so that is the length of the lifespan of this universe. This universe lifespan is 100 years. The same length life of Lord Brahma. So this Lord Brahma, his one day is consisting of 12 hours daytime, 12 hours nighttime. So 24 hours. When daytime comes, he will start the creative process. He will start creating planets, creating living entities. All that will happen. But when his daytime ends and his nighttime starts, what happens is all of this creation will be destroyed. Everything will be inundated with water. Every living entity will die. There won't be anybody. Lord Brahma will sleep, and everybody, all the living entity will go back into the Garbham of Garbhodakashai Vishnu. Go back into the body of Lord Vishnu. And then again his daytime comes, again he will create. So this is the lifespan of this universe. So 100 lifetime, 100 years of Lord Brahma equals to 36,000 times of creation and destruction. Creation and destruction. Creation in this destruction. This is called pralaya in Sanskrit. It's called pralaya. And then there's Mahapralaya. Mahapralaya is when Lord Brahma's life ends. That is when the whole universe is merged back into the body of Mahavishnu. So the reason why this Sri Antriksha is telling this is that to emphasize the point that all living entities in this material world, they are part and parcel of Krishna. Being part and parcel of Krishna means that they are eternal in nature. The living entity is a spirit soul. It is eternal in nature. Meaning also that whatever the living entity desires, the nature of that desire is also eternal. If you want to be happy, would you want to be happy eternally, or you want to be happy just maybe for 5 minutes? If you want to be peaceful, you want to be peaceful eternally, or you want to be peaceful for only 5 minutes? If you want to be satisfied, you want to be satisfied eternally, or maybe for 1 hour? So the answer is clear, isn't it? But the nature of this material world is nothing is eternal. So that's the reason why he's talking about this. This eternal time, it manifests cosmic, gross elements, and all that. It annihilates and creates again and again and again. So this is the illusory energy of the Supreme Lord. As cosmic annihilation approach, a terrible drought takes place on Earth for 100 years. For 100 years, the heat of the sun gradually increases and its blazing heat begins to torment the 3 worlds. Beginning from Patala Loka, a fire grows, emanating from the mouth of Lord Sankarsana. Its flames shooting upwards, driven by great wind, it scorches everything in all directions. So this is the pralaya at the end of the life of Lord Brahma. What happens is 100 years there will be flooding. There will be what they call drought. The sun will be burning so hot, everything will dry up. There won't be any water. And then on top of that, that's not enough. On top of that, there will be one fire that will come out from the bottom of the universe. Then that is from the mouth of Sankarsana. Sankarsana is the Anantasesa. So he will burn everything from the bottom of the universe all the way up to the heavenly planets. Everything will be burnt by fire. And that is not the end. Got some more. Hordes of cloud called Shamataka pours torrents of rain for 100 years, flooding down in raindrops as long as the trunk of an elephant. The deadly rainfall submerges the entire universe in water. Fire not enough. You get flooded, you be drowned by these Shambhataka clouds. These clouds are clouds of devastation. Then Vaya Raja Brahma, the soul of the universe, universal form, gives up his universal body, O king, and enters into the subtle manifested nature like a fire that has run out of fuel. So this is the explanation of this universe merging back into Mahavishnu. Deprived of its quality of aroma by the wind and elements, earth and its transformation into water, the water deprived of its taste, that same wind emerges into fire. Okay, here this Sri Antriksha is explaining that all the elements, when the creation happens, it happens in stages. Okay, all the basic elements in this material world, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego, they all come from Lord Vishnu, and Lord Brahma is the engineer. He is creating this one by one after another it comes. So when at the end, when everything is wound up and gone put back into Vishnu, all these elements are reverse engineered back into Mahavishnu. Okay, my dear king, the material senses and intelligence merge into false ego. This is the one lah. I have now described Maya, illusory energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This illusory potency consists of three modes of material nature, is empowered by the Lord for the creation, maintenance, and annihilation of the material universe. So Antriksha ends here by telling King Maharaj Nimi that this illusory energy of the Supreme Lord is the one that is creating, maintaining, and destroying this material world. So now the next question is Maharaj Nimi is going to ask is, how do we overcome this illusory energy of the Supreme Lord? So that will be next week's class. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.